In lockdown, I didn't really mind it. I confessed to some of my good friends that I actually quite enjoyed it. The first lockdown, I made cards, I did some craft, I made jigsaws, we phoned people that we hadn't spoken to for years. So lockdown 1 went by, and apart from not seeing the family and just having people come to the door for the shopping, etc., it seemed to be fine. Now that this one has come about, I think, well, it'll probably just be much the same. We'll Zoom at the church, and we'll Zoom for birthdays, and we'll go on FaceTime to see the family, and we'll see our 2-year-old who can come into the house and breaks in occasionally. But I have tried to think of people who are not as fortunate as us. We're lucky that there's 2 of us in the house, and we've always got company, and the house is big enough so that we can give each other some space. Nobody's been murdered yet. But it is difficult for people, and I've tried to walk in their shoes. I've tried to imagine what it's like if you're not well or if you're lonely. But it is difficult to always be able to sympathise and empathise with people who are living such different lives. But sometimes, just maybe during the night, I think, what if it never changes? And that's scary. On Sunday, Emma and John both talked about fear and the number of times in the Bible there are verses about being afraid. We had one that was our special verse when one of our girls was frightened at bedtime, and it was Isaiah 56. No, sorry, it was Psalm 56 and verse 3. And it said, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in you." And we kept that close, and that was good. But that was a wee girl's fears at bedtime. The world situations can be quite scary. It reminded me of a passage I read by David Shepherd, who was a minister in Liverpool, and he said, "My experience is that the more I attempt to tackle situations in the world, the more I am taken out of my depth. And the more I'm taken out of my depth, the more I am pushed back on the Lord and His resources. Being out of your depth is scary, but the Lord is near. As a country, a church, or personally, 2020 left us very much out of our depth. In fact, not waving, but almost drowning. It's time to realise that we have a God of infinite resources. In fact, the God of angel armies is always on our side. We had a major house move a year or 2 ago. We had no intention of leaving the East Coast. We thought we would end our days there. And we even had a burial plot in the wee cemetery near the sea. But one January 3 years ago, the Lord nudged us. We were to go back to Glasgow, and He made it easy for us. The surveyor bought the house, we got a house here, and we settled down. But it was because God knew there was going to be a pandemic. God knew that Tom was going to be in hospital 4 times, and He knew that we needed to be nearer the family. He always knows best. I'm a bit of a news junkie, and I have watched the coronavirus updates regularly. And they keep talking about the light at the end of the tunnel. But we don't need to be in a tunnel. Today, let's decide that we can get out of the tunnel. John chapter 1 and verse 5 says, "This is the message we have heard from Him and declare to you, God is light. In Him there is no darkness." Have a good day.